Hi everyone, can you guys hear me? Okay, I see some emojis. All right, I'm seeing everything drop in the chat now. Awesome. Excited to have you guys all here. Wow, let's see how many people. Over 400 people so far. This is great. So excited for the workflow swap. If you guys haven't been a part of the workflow swap, this is going to be a really good event for you guys to build better workflows. And it's going to be a fun little trick or treat Halloween edition. So in this workflow swap, we're going to have 4 workflow champions walk you through the workflows, how they set them up and why. And then if you like the workflows, you'll actually have the chance to go get those workflows and use them yourself in your firm. But that's not it. There's more. We also are giving you the ability to share your workflows with each other. So last time we did a workflow swap like this, we had about 100 people. This time, we're probably going to have a little over 500. And through that, we had about 30% of the attendees actually sharing a lot of their processes. And because of that, a lot of people got a lot of really good insights into how to build better workflows. And really, it's just fun because everyone's working together to build a better firm. So we're going to do a little bit of that today. And hopefully, if we do this right and everyone's willing to share, by the end of the session, everyone will be walking away with a lot of new ideas of how to improve their processes or even processes ready to go. So you may be wondering how this is going to work. So I'm going to walk you through that. So the templates that the presenters are going to be walking through, as well as the templates that the people in the audience, all of you listeners, may be willing to share, you're going to be able to access them from our brand new community-driven template library. This is something we created at Financial Sense because we saw that a lot of people were wondering, asking how are other firms doing this? So we wanted to create a place for accountants, bookkeepers, CPAs, really any accounting professional to go to see how other firms are solving their workflows and streamlining their workflows. So I'm going to actually show you what this template library looks like. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. I'm going to just do my whole window. How about that? Okay. Perfect. All right. So this here is the workflow template library. You can see this is the URL up here, but I'm going to share this URL with you. I want you guys to follow along with me so you can see how it works before I give you access to it. But on this library, you're going to be able to see all the different workflow templates that people have already shared. So we launched this yesterday, and we already have almost 40 workflow templates in here that you guys can look at. You guys get ideas of how to build better workflows or even use in your firm. So this is how it's going to work. You can use all these filters, define the types of templates you want. The templates that the presenters today are going to walk through, you'll be able to find them in here. They'll show you how to do that. But if you see a template you like, you can go to it, you can click on it, and then you can see what it looks like. Actually, like what the process checklist is in this process that this other accountant or bookkeeper or CPA and how they set it up. And if you like it, you can easily click Get Template, and then you can add it to your FC account. And then now you have that process inside of Financial Sense, and you can use it with your firm. Now, it's that simple, but here's the thing. You do have to be a Financial Sense user to actually use these templates. You can view them without having a Financial Sense account, but if you want to use them, you do have to have an account. If you don't have a Financial Sense account, you can start a free trial up here. It's free 14 days. You can play around with the template. If you like it, you can continue to use it. So it is important that you do have to have an FC account. So now that I've showed you how this template library works, I want to share the actual share it with you. So I'm going to, oh, it looks like the call to action has already been pushed. So if you guys want to get access to the template library, again, you don't have to have an FC account to view the templates. It's something we just released. It's going to always be available. Our goal, like right now we have 38 templates in there. We want to have thousands of different templates for many different industries, many different processes. So a place you can always go to figure out how are other firms doing this. You can get ideas. You can come up with creative ways to streamline your process by looking at how other firms are doing it, or you can just use those templates themselves. So that gets to the next point. We talked a little bit about how we want you, everyone in the audience, to also share their templates, not just the presenters. And again, last time we did this, we had 30 of the attendees. We have over 500 people in this session. We could have hundreds of templates by the end of the day, right? That we can all review and build off of. Because again, to get, you have to give, right? So the more that you give, the more other people are willing to give. And then we end up with lots of different processes. And together we're building a better firm. But to help encourage that, over the next 2 days, for anyone that shares a template to the template library, we're going to be donating $5 for each template to the Hurricane Relief with Red Cross. So if you guys do decide to give, I mean, you don't just have to do it for the value, do it for the cause to help other people. So I'm going to show you guys how you can actually share templates if you decide to do that. So I'm going to share my screen again real quick. Just go to window. It's easier. And then if we go inside, so if, again, you have to be a Financial Sense user to share a template because they're Financial Sense templates. So if you have an account, you just go to your templates. You'll find the template that you want to share. And then you'll see the share template link up here, or button. When you click it, you'll see this, would you like to share the template to the library? You'll select yes. And you just fill out these details and you click next, and then it shares it. So one thing to note is, I know everyone's templates aren't perfect, but we still want to raise a lot of money. We still want people to share. So if you do share, it does go to an approval process where our team will review the templates, make sure there's no sensitive information, maybe give you some ideas to make it a little bit better before you push it live. But if you share and it goes in that approval process, even though it doesn't go to the library right away, we're still going to donate that money. We'll reach out to you if you need to make updates, but if it looks good, we'll push it live throughout the next few days. So again, if you want to help everyone to build better templates and also get back, because if you share, other people will share, then we all benefit. Go to your Financial Sense account over the next 2 days, share your templates, and if you can, do it actually during the session. So let me stop my screen sharing. On that note, we're almost ready to jump in, but before we do and move on to the presenters, we've been sitting around a lot today. Let's have a little bit more fun. Let's get the blood flowing. So we got someone special to help us do that in today's session. We got the one and the only dancing accountant, Nancy McLean. Bring her on. There we go.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to see you. Thanks, Sharam, for inviting me to this special Halloween edition of showing folks how saving time matters. I love the stretch on this one, which I know this template library is going to do. But since we've been sitting around for hours, let's get up off our bums and we are going to have a dance break and we're going to learn to dance the time warp because we're all going to be saving so much time with these templates. It's going to feel like we're in a time warp. Everybody know this classic tune from Rocky Horror Picture Show? There are only a few moves to the chorus and they match the words. So it's really easy to do. And the best part is it's only 2 minutes long and no one can see you. You're in your office. I'm the only one, right? So get up. Come on, everybody. I'm serious. I'm talking about you. Get up out of your chairs. I'm not kidding. I see you. You think I can't? I see you. Get up out of your chair. All right. So there are only a few moves. They match the words, and we're just going to freestyle to the rest of the song. All right. So first move we're going to learn is the time warp. They say, let's do the time warp again over and over and over in the song. They practically start it with that. So when we do the time warp, we're going to go to one side. It doesn't matter which side. And we're going to put our leg out and our arms out like this. Everybody doing it? Right? Let's do, now we do it on the other side, the time warp. And then we go back and forth with our leg. Again. And then the other side, let's do the time warp again. All right, so we're going to one side and then the other, and then our foot's going out and in. Does everybody got that? I can't see you, so it doesn't matter, but it's still, it's just like in my head, it makes me feel better if you put your thumb up. Yeah, good. Now I know you're doing it. All right, so that's the time warp. And then we've got the parts where they say what parts of the dance to do. Does everybody remember? They've got an instructor in the song, and he says to take a jump to the left. So you jump to the left. I mean, it's really just, we're accountants here. We're smart people. You can figure that part out. And then you step to the right. And when we do that, We go 3 times to the right. You can do your hands like this if you want. You could even do sparkle hands if you want. But we're going 3 steps to the right. Now keep that leg out there because now we're going to put our hands on our hips. When I do it, I like to sparkle down to my hips. And put your knees in tight. All right, so I'm going to go through that so far. We take a jump to the left, and then we step to the right 3 times. Put your hands on your hips and bring your knees in tight. But they say in the song, it's the pelvic thrust. I can't believe I'm doing this at an online accounting conference. That really drives them insane. And then we go back to our time warp. Let's do the time warp again. Let's do the time warp again. All right, do we have it? Davida, please go ahead and play the video. Let's dance along. Are you guys ready for this? I hope you're ready for this because I am wearing sequins at my favorite virtual conference.
Like you're under sedation. Jump to the left. With your hands on your hips.
Back to you, Sharam.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy, for coming on and helping us get the blood pumping. I think now we're ready to get started. But before we bring on the first guest, I want to say if you guys have any questions, drop it in the Q&A. We'll try to get to them if we have some time. And lastly, don't forget, if you're a Financial Sense user, go share your templates. Let's all build a better community together so we can all build better processes. So with that done and said, our first guest is Greg Schulten. He is a detail-oriented individual with over 15 years of experience in the accounting profession as a tax accountant, an accounting manager, and he has earned his bachelor's and master's degree in accounting along with obtaining his license to practice in front of the IRS as an enrolled agent. Greg, let's see if you're on. There you are. What are you going to be sharing with us today?
Hello. Yeah, thank you. Let me share my screen real quick. Sorry, I forgot to do that ahead of time, but here we go. All right. No, thank you for allowing me to kind of present my template here. So one of the templates I prepared is the monthly accounting onboarding. And I thought this was an important process because our firm direction over the next couple of years is to increase our monthly or our regular ongoing accounting clients. So we want to have a good process in play there. So I'm just going to quickly walk through my template, some of the automations, things like that, on how I use the template. And I'm excited for the template library because I know this needs improvement. So I'm excited to see what other people are doing as well to help improve this. So this is great. When I go to my template, I used our new feature that they came out with about a month or so ago, the task sections. That's been extremely helpful. I love it. Um, we kind of sort things by different areas, like our admin, salespeople. Usually start out with the engagement letters before we get to the next point of setting our systems up. Now, each of my templates or each of my tasks, you'll notice the little lightning bolt. I use a lot of automations within this process because there's a lot of things we can do automated that we don't have to interact with any type of manual work. If we can save manual work, I'd rather do it. So, for example, on my first one here, I have tags being removed and added to help us facilitate the process. You also see here on my second one, I do have an automation here that also makes a dependency. So I don't want to work this task at all until we have confirmed we got a proposal that came in, we got the money signed, and at that point, once that's done, we can continue on. That just helps keeps us compliant or keeps us on a better track with everything. So other aspects I use are number of time for capacity planning, and then I also use the subtask quite a bit to help my staff work through the process quite well. I also have my client task section, which we don't have this automatically sent right away. We have it waiting for us to manually send because there's some things we may need to add or delete from it. But within each of these, we tell the clients to do here. For example, I use Calendly. I would insert my Calendly link here so they can schedule their own onboarding call to get started, directions and how to give us access to their QBO, and just simple things like that kind of there. Once we get there, we continue the process on just doing the setup of QuickBooks, and we want to make sure it's consistent so that way we have consistency among all of our clients to create additional efficiencies altogether, like the same chart of accounts, everything's standardized, everything's bank feeds, things like our rules are created for our bank feed items, just things like that to make sure all together we have a good standard process and provide that great customer service to our clients, but also it makes our lives as a firm a lot easier as well. There are some things that there are some things that I don't have in here, well, that we have in here that we may not use. For example, we may not use Fathom. So in that case, I'll just erase the task. So I do understand that is there. And the same thing, we use Pluto for our accounts payable and some of our accounts receivable. So just setting those type of systems up from there. So, and that's kind of where our template has kind of evolved itself. Like I said, I know going through this process, we're definitely going to continue to evolve this. And I'm excited to see what everyone else has to continue to enhance our template and go from there. If you're curious on how to get to it, I'll show you. You go to the template library that Sharon showed, templates.financial-sense.com. And if you want to look at my template specifically, you can type in my name and it comes with all the ones that I have created from there. So any kind of questions on the template that I created or how I got there? Let's see here. Okay.
All right. Was there any questions for Greg about his templates? Please drop it in Q&A. It's hard to keep track of them in the chat.
Let's see, I'm checking the Q&A too as well, if there's anything I can answer.
So how do you keep track of customized items for individual clients?
For customized items, what I usually do is so the template is the template. Once you actually add the template to the customer, I will add a special section probably for specialty items and go from there. That's the way I've figured it out so far. I might add a specialty section as a default, but for the most part, this template will be molded by a client as well because each client is different. I do a lot of nonprofits. I do a lot of AFC homes. So we also customize this a little bit depending on the type of industry we're in. I don't create one by industry just because I don't want a bunch of templates out there, but I may create one eventually by industry.
Okay, perfect. All right. So yeah, that's a good tip, right? If you're using these templates, it's meant to be like a generalist template for a majority of your clients, and then you can customize on the client by client level, basically. But on that note, we'll save the other questions for later. And I want to remind everyone, if you have a great template you want to share, add it to the library. I've already seen a few come through for the approval process, so we're raising money already. But again, it's also about building community so we can build some better workflows together. So with that said, we'll move on to our next guest. Our next guest is Shannon Tice. She launched her first accounting business back in 2006 and transitioned to solely focusing on payroll in 2019. Now focused on restoration, she combines her expertise and certifications in various accounting software systems to fix complex payroll problems, ensuring clients, compliance, and peace of mind. All right, Shannon, what do you have for us today?
Well, I am sharing my onboarding for a new payroll client, and we specifically use QuickBooks Desktop for our when we onboard and have clients. We've got, and we broke everything down into sections as soon as it became available, which was quite the undertaking because we do have state specific because we're payroll, we do have quite a bit of templates that are state specific. So like every state specific resource we have, we add to the resource section. I did strip this out quite a bit to take out things that are very specific to us. But we have initial mandatory tasks, which is, creating the financial sense account, creating the client portal, and we've got templates in the client portal that we send out, and we use our billing software to send out the invoice and the client contract. And then we added a task called make sure invoice is paid before moving on. And Sharam, if there was a way that I could put a dependency on this entire section so that it cannot be started until this task is marked off, I would absolutely love it. And then we have beginning client tasks, which is the company setup, and then the company employee setup so that we're getting the employees all set up in our payroll software. And there's a section for direct deposit, which if we aren't going to use it, like if the client that we're working with doesn't want direct deposit, we just delete the section so that each as soon as the project is added to each client, we start the customization process. We don't just mark things as done. We come in and start deleting things as soon as we know it's not needed. Um, and then we've got review and feedback. We process a fake payroll or an initial, like the first payroll that we run. We verify that it's correct and send it to the client to make sure that everything looks the way that they're expecting it to look. And then we finalize the onboarding and which is, and again, some of this is specific for desktop, where we start the e-file pin for the client. And then 10 days after we're done with the onboarding is when we expect to receive the pin. So, and we do have quite a few, tabs or tabs, tags, and different things that we use. We have, where is the client portal? Because unlike a lot of, or I use Financial Sense uniquely because I have 4 businesses. So we have a tag for what business it is, a tag for what portal we're going to find the client in, a tag for the payroll software. Because we use, with the restoration, we are going to be finding people's payroll information in several different payroll softwares. Does anybody have any questions they want me to go ahead and answer?
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. Does anyone have any questions for Shannon about our template? Drop it in the Q&A. If it's in the chat, I won't be able to find it because there's a lot going on in the chat. And while we wait for that, some people were asking, how do you share a template? So as a reminder, we're encouraging people to share templates to build better workflows. And also, if you want to get access to the template library, you see a call to action that just went live. You don't have to have a Financial Sense account to view the templates. If you want to use them in your FC account, you do have to have an account. But let me show you, for everyone that's listening, if you're an FC user, you want to share a template so we can have more templates, create a better library, or also just raise money for hurricane relief. I'm going to share my screen to show you guys how to do that one more time. So I'm going to show my window. So if you are an FC user and you want to share a template, all you have to go is to the template that you want to share. You can do it from here or here. You'll see share template. Select you want to share it to the template library, fill in the details, and hit next. Again, over the next 2 days, for every template shared, we're going to donate $5 to hurricane relief. And it will go through approval process, right? But if it goes into in review, we're automatically just going to donate that money. But that's just to protect you guys. Like if you want to make some edits, we will follow up with you and help you improve the templates. But you can still go ahead and share them now. So I'm going to stop my share.
I do have a question that is specifically for me. That we have 10 days to receive the e-file pin. That is something that we request from the IRS for each of our clients' QuickBooks Desktop EINs. So it is 7 to 10 days from the time that the client receives the pin before and then they send it to us. So right now a lot of our onboarding projects are open because the IRS is behind on sending out those pins. Does that answer your question, Haley? Just go ahead and comment in there. Otherwise I can. Oh, she's Canadian, that's why she hasn't heard of it before. So all right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. And there was another question from someone like, if you are an FC user, can you access the library from when it's in Financial Sense? Not right now. We're going to have a little link in there. So if you are a user, you want to get access to it, it'll be easier to find. But for now, I would just save this link if you want to come back to it. So let's move on to our next guest. So up next, we have Tanya Schulte. She's the owner of Profit Constructors, manager of the Construction Junction Roundtable, and host of the Construction Junction podcast. Tanya is a board member of the American Subcontractors Association of Arizona and has received multiple awards, including the ASA National Outstanding Service Award and local ASA of Arizona Outstanding Service Award. Among her peers, she is known as the Construction Accounting Guru. All right, excited to have you on, Tanya. What are you going to be sharing with us today?
Thanks, Jerome. Yeah, so I'm going to be sharing our basic month-end template. And the reason that I'm super excited to share this is because it's kind of like the basis for everything that we do on the back end over here, right? So it's like this is like the foundational piece of our bookkeeping work. So as that pulls up, I'll say a couple things. My team likes to tease me that I'm super old school, right? And so one of the things that they all laugh about with how I learned how to do this and why our month end is set up this way is that right about the time you get to this task of bank accounts, the rest of this is laid out the way that a balance sheet would be laid out. And so that's, if you dive in and you download this template, you can kind of start to see as you scroll down through that it's basically just going to follow all the way down your balance sheet. And as all of my accounting mentors ever taught me, if the balance sheet is correct, we can trust the P&L, right? So that's how we envision our month-end close process going, is that we're working our way all the way through to show folks how to work that balance sheet from top to bottom and make sure you've touched every single account on it. A couple of things I wanted to point out about our Financial Sense templates. All of our Financial Sense templates, we try to give as much information to our team internally as possible. So if you click into any one of ours, and these are all shared in what we shared, if you click into them and take a look, you can actually even see like a process for how we think about doing that task. So hopefully that'll be helpful to anybody that downloads this as well, to kind of see what our process is on the end side. And then one other thing I was going to note on this particular template, back to some of like the customization pieces that you and Greg were talking about. One of the things that we do to customize this particular template, we don't always use subtasks this way, but for this template, most of our subtasks are used for calling out individual items or accounts on the chart of account that need to be reconciled. So the really cool thing about that is like as you add subtasks to this, you're able to see like, did I reconcile a certain account number? Or keep track of your work. So if you've only been had time to do, in this case, we're talking about accessing bank statements. If you've only had a chance to do 2 of those, you have to step away and go grab your kids because it's lunchtime or whatever you need to do, you'll be able to check those off. So that's how we use subtasks on this particular template. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out that I love about this is we have some of our, on all of our templates, we have, besides the little piece of process that I showed you, we actually have resources that we call out, which again, this resource is also shared with this template. And so you'll be able to see like one of our full-fledged like procedures for how we actually think about pulling the undeposited funds report that's included in this template. So we love to use the resources and put further information out there for all kinds of reasons. And a lot of times it's procedures so that we give a little bit of the process in the template right there in the description. And then if you need a longer, more full-fledged procedure because you're brand new or haven't done it in a long time, you have access to that in the resources as well. And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to highlight, similar to what Greg was talking about, is when we're preparing our templates that have anything to do with clients and client-related issues, we do try to think through like, what are all the things we might want to do? And so in this particular month-end template, we have all the types of things that we're typically needing to gather from our clients. We try to think that through in the template form so that we're making sure that every time we create this recurring month-end process, everything we might need to gather from the client is thought through. And similar to what Greg said, we do, in this particular case, not turn on the auto reminders because these are types of things we might not gather from every client, or we might only gather some times of the year. So, but we do want them here on the template so we don't forget to ask for those things when they are necessary. But yeah, this is one of my favorite templates. It's actually one that's been around with us for a long time, and we just love to continue to tweak it. Oh, I'll point out one other thing. We automate this so that whoever's doing this work, we actually have an internal quality assurance person. And so I don't think that this automation is included because of the way that it works on the back end. But the idea is that when this last final step of the process is checked, that automatically kicks off the next piece for our quality assurance manager to have her own next steps to do. And it's a whole separate project that opens up for her to take it from there. Oh, I think you're muted, Sharam. I can't hear you.
Oh, yep. There we go. All right. Little technical difficulty. Thanks for that, Tanya. Does anyone have any questions? Drop it in the Q&A. Let's see. There was one about the subtask, but you put most of those steps in the description, right?
Exactly. So Sandy, that's part of what I was saying. Like our description contains like the process for how to do it for this particular process. And it's not this way on all of our projects in Financial Sense, but for this one, the main thing we use subtasks for in this one is calling out which chart of accounts account that bookkeeper should be reconciling or which account they should be downloading the bank transactions for. So subtasks for us are individual pieces of the task that they should be doing, if that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. Looks like there's some more questions, but we're going to move on to our next guest for time. And Tanya, if you can, just get to those in the chat. So again, I'm just checking the in-review process. We're seeing templates come through, so we're raising money. These will go live into the library over the next day or two once I just review them. But again, if you can, share some more templates. We want to eventually create a library where there's thousands of templates, right? Where you can go and understand how to build the best processes, get ideas, creativity, or just use them yourself. And to do that, we all have to give, because if we give, more other people will give, and then we'll all benefit. So leading into that, let's move on to our next workflow champion. We have Jenny Rost, who is the owner of Construct Bookkeeping. She has almost 20 years of construction accounting experience and has owned her own firm for 4.5 years. Jenny and her team support contractors with bookkeeping, payroll, sales tax, and their back office work. They've been using her firm has been using Financial Sense for almost 2 years. And we got a special surprise. She's sharing not one, but 2 templates with you today. So I'll pass it off to Ginny.
Thanks, Sharam. Thanks for having me again to do another template overview here in the Workflow Live. So like he mentioned, I'm going to be reviewing 2 templates today. You can download both of them in the template library. The first one will be a lead call and diagnostic review. And this is also tied to our cleanup project, and I'll show you how those tie into one another. So let's take a look first at our lead call and diagnostic review. So when you download these templates, I included all of our email templates that are in here, our resources, any links, everything we use is included in here on those templates. So over here in the resources section, the biggest thing that I want to point out is that I wanted these to be placeholders here. So we do have a lead folder set up. You can use Financial Sense for that with the files per client. We're on SharePoint currently, so that's where ours linked to. And then the intake form and questionnaire. We have a separate intake form that we use, but this link will take you to Financial Sense's example and overview of their intake form and questionnaire, which is great. And then the link for Fathom. So I will record any of our lead calls or onboarding calls with clients, and I do that via Fathom. Fathom's great because you can kind of click in the video and bookmark areas that you might want to go over again, or touch on when you're reviewing that later on. So in this first section here, we prep for the call. And so this is when a lead comes to us, and they come to us in a variety of ways. So we're going to research that lead first. I don't have them fill out that lead intake form on their own. I fill that out during our discovery call because I want to be asking that lead those questions and building that dialogue and that conversation as we're working through that lead call together. So like I mentioned, it's linked here, but I ask all of those questions during our discovery call. I don't have them fill out that form, but I know a lot of people link that on their website, and that can be really great. So like I mentioned, I have a lot of the descriptions and subtasks set up for how we will prep for that call. I do have some automation set up in here as well. So like scheduling the meeting with the lead. There is an email that will be sent out when this task is marked off that it is done, and that will automate an email that is going to be sent to the lead, and it gives a link to our booking calendar. If you download these templates, make sure you go in and change the links that are in these email templates so they match your business and where you want them to be linked to. So after we prep for that call and schedule the meeting with the lead, we are going to go ahead and do our discovery call. And within each section of this discovery call here, I go through the things that we like to talk about during that call. So kind of an intro and overview with the client. Then I ask all of the questions from my lead intake form. When I'm doing that, I have a section down here called call notes. I like to add tasks and items here for things I want to touch on later on, maybe during the cleanup, or if the client is really talking about something they're struggling with, I want to point that out and make a task for myself. Maybe they mentioned something that stands out to me during pricing or about pricing that I'm going to want to factor in later on when we talk about our quote and go over that. Then we go through our monthly kind of processes and services, what we offer, what we could use to help them. And then I talk about any expectations or questions that the client might have. And then we do list out kind of next steps for them so they know what to expect and how they're going to be receiving that information. With so many of the features that Financial Sense has coming out, it's nice to let them know either, okay, you're going to get an invite from a separate CRM, or going forward, they're going to get just one invite from Financial Sense, and we're going to be using that for our proposals and our billings going forward. So that's exciting and something to look forward to. And then I mentioned I keep my call notes here. And then once I am done with that discovery call, we are going to send them an accountant invite for QuickBooks Online. And after that call, I go ahead and I just mark this task off, and that is going to send them an automated email right here. And like I said, this is included for you guys in this template. So make sure you go in and change that email template to include what email address they need to send that to for their QuickBooks invite to your firm. But it's a nice draft of what that email would look like when you send it out. And that's nice because I just check that off. I don't have to do anything. It's automated. I love it. So that happens. And then from there, I am going to send them an invoice for our diagnostic review. So I get a lead, we do a discovery call, I find out what they're looking at, what services, but then I need to review their books before I can send them a quote. I do charge for diagnostic reviews, and so I will send the lead an invoice for our completing a diagnostic review. What's going to be great is doing that within Financial Sense going forward. And I'm really excited about this billing tab that's over here in beta right now. So I'm going to test out sending out some invoices to clients built into Financial Sense. It's going to be really fun. I'm excited for that. So once they have paid that invoice for the diagnostic review, I'm going to go ahead and complete that diagnostic review after I've received their QuickBooks Online invite. How this plays into that other project that I mentioned, this whole section right here is just everything that I complete as my review of their QuickBooks Online file. However, I don't use this section to track anything about that review. What we do right here under Create Cleanup Project in FC is we check off this task as done, and then Financial Sense will automatically create a project for this client for that cleanup project. So the reason that I do that this way, and you might want to keep all of your stuff in one project and make your notes in here, but for me, I like this because I'm doing a diagnostic review. Well, that wasn't supposed to give us this view, but that's okay. When I'm doing that diagnostic review, I like to have my sections that I'm checking off and those tasks I'm completing, but then I like to create an actual cleanup project because I'm completing a diagnostic review for a client, but they might not have us complete that cleanup for them. That's going to be a separate invoice, that's going to be a separate service, and they might decide they don't want to move forward with us, which is fine. But if they do want to move forward with us for that cleanup, I want to have a project ready for me and my team to complete that cleanup. And that diagnostic review helps me create that cleanup project. So while I'm going through every section here for the diagnostic review, I come over into this cleanup project with these matching sections, and I go ahead and add every task that needs to be done, any notes, any areas. I assign them to different people on my team. And we create that cleanup while we're doing that diagnostic review. This is another reason I charge for it, because it does take more time than just doing a quick review of their QuickBooks file. And this is usually for larger clients, not those smaller clients that have a small QuickBooks Online file. It's something where we know they haven't had a bookkeeper for a while, or their bookkeeper didn't do the best job and they need a cleanup going forward. So I will come in here to each of these sections and I'll make my notes. Let's see if there's anything. There's some prep in here that we do ahead of time. But I keep notes for my team on here on kind of where we are researching this, things to look for, things like that. And then I just come in and add tasks within each of these sections for what needs to happen on their cleanup. And this diagnostic review section mirrors that and kind of walks you through. So once you've done this, you can check it off that you've reviewed that section, but you're going to create a task list for that project going forward. So after we complete that diagnostic review, we are going to send the client or the lead a proposal for their cleanup, if there is any that is needed, and then their ongoing services. I've seen people quote those two things separately, maybe like to get done with the cleanup first and then quote ongoing services. This template will still work for that if you decide to do that process as well, or kind of split them out into separate services. But I always like to quote them and send that off. So here we'll go ahead and quote and send that off. We might have to follow up with the lead and then update the lead status as kind of like unanswered, haven't heard back, something like that. And then down here in our client tasks, I have this section right here for watch diagnostic review video. So when I am quoting the client, I create a Loom video of that diagnostic review for them. And I open up the various tabs of their QuickBook file, and I go through and do that review and show them the areas that I'm going to clean up in their books, or specific examples of what I'm finding that's wrong within their books. And then I link that video right here, send that off to the client as a client task. And then they can see what we're going to do during that cleanup. And we can also show them, services that we're going to provide going forward. In that video, I also go through the proposal. So you can link your proposal here, and then they're going to pay that invoice. So I would link the invoice here. If you're using another CRM, you can even link your invoice in that CRM here. With Financial Sense opening up that billing portal, I'm excited to be able to have that built into Financial Sense. And I did get to view the proposal module the other day with Shram, and I am so excited. I cannot wait to switch over to Financial Sense for not only billing, but for my proposals as well. So this section might be changing as those things come out, but right now this works great. If you use a CRM, you can link them here. If you don't use a CRM, you can link your PDFs from Adobe here and have them signed through Financial Sense. That makes it really easy. And then hopefully with billing rolling out soon, that'll kind of be built into this process as well. So any questions? Let me look at my notes here and make sure I didn't forget to tell you guys about anything in here. Any questions? I didn't keep up with that.
I got some for you.
Some,
we got a
okay.
few to work through because we got some time.
Cool.
So someone asked how long your discovery call is.
My discovery call is anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the size of the client. If they're a smaller client, it's usually a lot faster, but usually about an hour. And that's another reason I charge for diagnostic reviews, because I kind of build in the price of that lead call into my diagnostic review price.
Okay. And then let's see. What program are you using to auto-generate emails from?
I use Financial Sense for that automation. So when I was talking about those email automations, those are built into Financial Sense here. So let's do an example real quick if we have time, if folks haven't seen that before. So this template has already been downloaded and set up under my test client in Financial Sense. So this is what it would look like if you were to do this. So you would come in here to task automation, and you are going to select an automation, and we're going to say send email to client. And then you can select a template, or you can create a new template. And so here are some of my templates that we would send out to a client or a lead. And so the one that I was mentioning is scheduling a discovery call. So that template is in here, and then you get to select the contact that you want that to go to. And then let's click save. So that is what already existed right here, but this is what it would look like. So when you mark this task complete, it's going to send that email to that contact that you had set up as your lead client and send that off. So we have our email integrated within Financial Sense, and you can do that through Google and Microsoft, and I'm sure a couple other options. So we use that directly within Financial Sense, so we don't have to have any other kind of email automation.
Okay, perfect. So there's another question here of, do you get a lot of pushback for charging for diagnostic reviews? And if you're willing to share, you charge.
I've never gotten pushback on charging for diagnostic reviews. If it is a very, very small client who's just starting out and I know their books don't have a lot going on, like they maybe just started using QuickBooks Online, I maybe won't charge for a diagnostic review, and I'll just up the price of my cleanup or catch up a little bit to include that. And my prices for diagnostic reviews range quite a bit. So the starting price of those is $250, and then it goes up all the way to probably around $1,250.
Okay. Let's see. Can you record the diagnostic video and send the invoice and receive the payments all through Financial Sense? So I can answer that. Not yet, but with, billing is currently in beta, and with some of the new billing features like the proposals and everything, that will all be possible in the near future.
And right now, this works well under the client tasks to be able to do those 3 things within Financial Sense. That way, when your clients start seeing invoicing already built into Financial Sense, it'll be an easy transition for them.
Okay, perfect. So I think we're running up on time, so I want to cover a few other things. Let's see. So someone asked a question. Let me share my screen real quick. So I just want to remind everyone that if any of the templates that you saw today from the presenters, those are already in the template library. So you can find them. You can find them under their names. If you actually click their name, it'll show all the templates they provided, because there's more templates other than the ones we just shared here. So you can go ahead, find those templates, go to the template library. This template library is new. We just released it, but it's always going to be there. It's available for everyone. You don't have to have an account to get access to the library. You can view the templates, you can get ideas, but if you want to use it in FC, you have to start a trial in FC because they're Financial Sense templates. And again, I want to remind everyone that as an FC user already, if you have templates that you think you can share that would be valuable, share them to the library. We're donating money to the hurricane relief, but also we believe in community. And if everyone contributes, everyone will see value and contribute more, and it builds a better library, and we can have thousands of templates to help everyone in the Financial Sense community build better workflows. And that is the main goal we want to accomplish with this library, community-driven template library. And there was one more question I saw, which was, do the email templates come through with the templates in the template library? It depends. If the people that share the templates selected to share the email templates, they will be included. So you can get those. And if you look on the templates in the template library, like I'll show you real quick. Well, I have to find one, but you should see in the description, there will be little tags that say if there's email templates, how many tasks or client tasks have it. So you'll be able to see which templates have automations and which automations. Okay. Well, that's everyone that's presented. I want to thank all the guests or the presenters that came out to share their templates with us today. I mean, I hope you guys got value in that. Thank you all for joining us here in the audience. But again, to the presenters, thank you guys for coming on. This has been great.
Thanks for asking us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely. We wouldn't be here if nobody asked us.
Yeah, no problem. And again, don't forget about the template library, everyone. Over the next 2 days, if you share a template, we're donating. I think, let me check real quick, see how many we have. We've had a lot come in already. I think we have a little over 20 templates added to the library. I haven't pushed them through. I've got to review them, but that's going towards the donation. We still have 2 full days to continue to do this. So if you didn't have time now, find time later today or tomorrow to contribute to the library so we can build something great here. All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you later in the next few sessions.